There was once a young man whose impulsive decision caused his family to suffer a devastating loss. From then on, the words, "I will never forgive myself," weighed on him like a heavy yoke. He constantly relived that mistake in the dead of night, denying all his efforts and worth. He thought this was a sign of taking responsibility, but he didn't realize that this unforgivable self-blame was slowly pushing him into an abyss of despair. This is a struggle many of us have experienced. We often assume that our inability to forgive ourselves stems from deep regret for our mistakes, but from a psychological perspective, it's a manifestation of self-judgment and guilt that traps us in the shadow of the past, leading to a denial of self-worth and paralysis of action. Failure to forgive oneself can lead to a vicious cycle of self-criticism and shame, which can severely damage one's mental health. This state of mind not only causes emotional suffering but also has profound negative consequences for daily life and relationships. One such negative impact is the confusion between guilt and shame. We often confuse guilt with shame. Guilt is regret for a specific action, such as "I did this wrong." It often motivates us to make amends and is a healthy emotion that can lead to change. Shame, on the other hand, is a complete denial of one's worth, such as "I'm a terrible person." This feeling can lead us to hide, avoid, or even become angry and humiliated, hindering our ability to learn from our mistakes. Shame can make us feel like we are the mistake, rather than have made it. Failure to forgive oneself can also lead to a vicious cycle of self-judgment. When we constantly judge ourselves, it's like a harsh judge dwells in our minds, constantly revisiting past events and accusing ourselves, ultimately sapping our drive for adventure and our hope for the future. This inner voice constantly tells you, "You're not worth it, you won't succeed, and you'll only mess up." It not only drains your energy but also causes you to retreat when opportunities arise, because you've already predetermined the outcome of failure. Difficulties in relationships with others. Those who cannot forgive themselves also find it difficult to truly forgive others. We project our inner struggles onto the external world, becoming particularly critical and sensitive to the mistakes of others, which strains and complicates interpersonal relationships. Fearing the discovery of your own imperfections, you may deliberately distance yourself from others or overreact to others' accusations. Because the judge deep within you never rests, it's difficult for you to truly forgive others. So, how can we break this cycle and free ourselves from this inner prison? Forgiving yourself is a difficult but worthwhile journey. It's not about forgetting or denying your mistakes, but about learning to stop being bound by them and draw strength from them. Here are 9 specific steps, incorporating psychological insights. First, distinguish between guilt and shame. Listen carefully to your inner voice. When you say, "I messed up," are you saying it about the event, guilt, or yourself, "I'm such a loser," shame? Distinguishing between the two can help you shift your focus from denial to problem solving. For example, if you hurt a friend with an unintentional word, guilt will prompt you to apologize, while shame will lead you to hide and avoid facing the situation. Second, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same tenderness, understanding, and support you would give to your best friend. When you make a mistake, imagine how you would comfort a friend who made the same mistake, and then treat yourself the same way. This will help you feel warmth and strength in difficult situations, rather than bearing it all alone. Self-compassion isn't about making excuses for mistakes. It's about acknowledging your pain and giving yourself the tenderness you need. Third, redefine your story. You can't change the past, but you can change how you view it. Accept your mistakes as part of growth, learn from them, and let them become nourishment for your future, not a burden. Your mistakes aren't the end of your story, but a turning point. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me, and how can I apply this lesson to the future? Fourth, acknowledge and mourn your losses. Give yourself time to grieve and allow yourself to feel the pain. Whether it's the loss of a relationship, an opportunity, or a lost hope in your ideal self, mourning is an important step toward release. It's not about self-pity, but about allowing emotions to flow and not become pent up. You can accomplish this by writing a letter to your past self or sharing your feelings with someone you trust. Fifth, make amends and reconcile. If your actions have hurt others, honestly acknowledge your mistakes and seek forgiveness. This is not only for the sake of others, but also for your own freedom from guilt and the restoration of the relationship. If you can't express yourself verbally, try writing a letter expressing your apology and regret. Even if the other person can't forgive, this action alone can bring you peace of mind, knowing you've made every effort to repair the situation. Sixth, live in the present and focus on growth. Instead of dwelling on the past, focus your energy on present-day actions. By learning new skills and engaging in meaningful activities, you can experience a sense of progress and accomplishment. As you engage in growth, the shadows of the past will gradually fade. Shift your focus from what I did in the past to what I can do now. Seventh, write down your inner dialogue. Use a journal to record the critical voice in your mind. This process helps you observe these thoughts objectively and respond to them with a healthier, more rational perspective. For example, if your inner voice says, "You're such an idiot," you can write, "I made a mistake, but that doesn't make me an idiot. I will learn from it." 8. Seek professional help. If the process of self-forgiveness is too difficult, seeking the help of a counselor is a courageous choice. A counselor can provide a safe space to help you deeply explore your inner pain and learn effective coping mechanisms. They are not there to judge you, but rather to serve as an objective guide, helping you find your inner strength. Finally, accept your imperfections. The ultimate goal of self-forgiveness is to accept your imperfections. This isn't complacency, but rather the recognition that everyone makes mistakes. It's universal human nature. You're not worthy of love because you're perfect, but because you're unique. When you truly accept your imperfections, you no longer need to constantly prove yourself, which frees you from immense pressure. I care very little if I am judged by you or by any human court. Indeed, I do not even judge myself. 1 Corinthians 4 verse 3. Remember, judgment is never God's doing. He sees your heart and knows your struggles. Let go of self-judgment and walk boldly toward His love. Let's return to the young man at the beginning of the film. After enduring long periods of self-torture, he finally mustered the courage to speak with a counselor. Under his counselor's guidance, he learned to distinguish between guilt and shame and practiced compassion for himself. He began to focus his energy on helping others, finding a new sense of purpose. While past mistakes cannot be erased, he no longer lets them define him. He realized that forgiving himself isn't about condoning mistakes, but about giving himself a chance to start over. When we forgive ourselves, we can truly live our lives, transforming past pain into fuel for future growth. If you'd like to learn more about today's news or other content, please leave a comment below. Thank you for your support. I hope you will subscribe, enable notifications, and share to support this channel and learn more. You can also visit my Patreon. Let's learn about God, reflect on faith, and live Christian lives together.